What's going on YouTube? Elliot here. Thanks for checking out another great video. In this episode, special guest Koshka talks about her style of trading, which was inspired by her mentor, Quickfingers Luc. In this video, you will see her talking about why TA is not required to be a successful trader and how you can play the markets like a true institutional investor. Thanks and enjoy.
I see some familiar faces. Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in. All right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all?
Well, I've been in crypto since the beginning of it, and I've gotten into crypto. I started mining back in 2012, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, that was insane. If you guys think trading right now is crazy, mining back in the day was insane. You would mine a coin, and you try to get in as fast as you can, mine as much of it as you can, and then hope that maybe this coin one day will hit an exchange so you can dump it as fast as you can. And this is how money was made. So a lot of coins have been long gone and forgotten, and some of the things we used to mine, they're not even there anymore.
Are you reading the chat right now?
Am I reading the chat?
Koshka
Hi
to the
everyone.
moon. Is Koshka a millionaire right now? She's a whale.
I'm not a whale. I'm just an amoeba. Trust me. And then what I used to do is I would take the coins and I would invest into projects like Ethereum, and a bunch of other ones like NXT, for example. Back in the day, NXT was going to be the new Ethereum until Ethereum took over. So I didn't really trade, day trade, I guess. It was more of just a long-term investment, get into a coin and hold it for 2 years and then take the profits out. So back in October, I had a great opportunity because some nice person gave me some BTC to play with. And I asked myself, okay, how am I going to make money? Because I only have so much to play with. And of course, the market is booming right now. And I would like to, increase the amount of BTC that I have. Because since the beginning of my days in crypto, I, to this day, believe that we do have a lot of potential within the crypto space. And it's only the beginning. I do believe that crypto will grow and it will become more popular, and there's a bright future for it. We're just hitting a few bumps in the road, but I've seen worse. Cough, cough, Mount Gox. So a lot of people have lost money back then. But anyway, so I've never touched TA in my life, and I've never done any kind of day trading. So I went on Google and I literally typed in, how to make profits in crypto from trading. And thank God, the first few links that I clicked was some guy named Quickfingers Luc. And I've seen him before a few times. I think he had a Steam account, and I've seen him on YouTube, but I really didn't pay attention to him. And I've decided to take a look at some of his videos. And to me, it made a lot of sense. Unlike the traditional TA method, he really doesn't rely on any kind of indicators. He doesn't rely on any kind of projection into the future. The way he trades and the way I trade at this point, and I've been doing it for the last, 6-7 months, we just react to charts. We react to what the chart is telling us, and we don't predict. So I'm more of a reactive trader than a predictive trader. So I'm not bashing TA, God forbid. I know I'm going to get burnt at stake here, but I do not rely on it to make my trades. I do consider TA, I do take it into consideration, but it doesn't make me money. And I want to show you how I trade, and maybe in the future, if you guys decide to give it a shot. I really hope that it will help you make money as well, like it did for me. Because trust me, since I started in October, and we did hit the bear market pretty hard the last 2 months, I've actually made more money in the bear market than I did in bull. Because to me, bull market is very boring. The only thing I can do there is sit and sell my profits. But in the bear market, this is when stuff gets exciting, and when everybody's screaming, "Oh my God, things are falling down. This is the end." I'm like, this is wonderful. I get to come in and purchase all of these cheap coins that everybody's selling to me. Thank you, guys. So I do apologize if any of you have lost money. I probably was one of those people who scooped them all up all the way at the bottom. So my advice to you is never sell on red and never sell all the way at the bottom, because trust me, after every panic, there's always going to be a rise. So
Awesome. So what type of trading style do you do? Are you a day trader, swing trader, long-term
I'm
scalping?
both. I do invest into coins based on my own fundamental analysis. I do consider myself lucky in the sense that I've been in crypto for a while. So when I actually look at the white paper, I know what I'm looking at, and I know how to differentiate between crap and decent projects. And quite honestly, we don't really have that many of those nowadays. We do have some projects with potential, but a lot of the coins out there are either completely useless, they have no purpose whatsoever. It's just a token, and there's really no value to it. Or we do have some crazy projects that really don't need blockchain technology at all in them. It's like, just because it's it's popular right now, there's no reason for the project to have the blockchain in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm very careful, and honestly, I always read all kinds of white papers. I always look at projects. Bitcoin Talk is still to this day one of my favorite forums to go to, because a lot of projects get listed there, and you can talk to the team of the developers. You can look at all kinds of feedback and look at the progress, and also get to know the new projects that are coming out. But honestly, in the last 2 months, I maybe found 1 or 2 decent projects that I might consider getting into.
Got a
So,
question from a blank space on Twitch, Koshka. So what coins would you say are good at the moment? Shill a coin for us, please.
hello, of course, TRX. I mean, guys, come on. This is like #1 coin right now. This thing has.
That's what everyone's saying right now.
I don't know, XVG. I mean, it's a hard one. I'm probably gonna go 90% on XVG and maybe 10% on TRX. XVG is definitely the king. Please don't take my word seriously. If you want to invest into a TRX or XVG right now, just give me the money, and we'll call it quits. Engine does have potential, but once again, does it really need a blockchain? This is what I'm asking. Because if you're, for example, if Starbucks decides to come out with its own coin and blockchain, right? Why do I need to go through all the troubles and get the Starbucks coin if I can just go to Starbucks and purchase my coffee with USD? So it depends. You have to look at it from a very critical point of view. I do invest into coins not based on their use in real life. I'm never going to invest into shit like Starbucks coin, for example. I'm just using it as an example. But I would invest into a project that has use within the crypto space, because if you think about it, does Ethereum have use within the crypto space? Yes. Look how many tokens have been created on Ethereum. Look how many things are run on it. Is there anything else? Yeah, we do have Neo right now, but they've been messing up quite a lot. Plus, it's a Chinese project, and I'm very wary of those for my own reasons, just because, maybe I'm an old crypto person and I don't trust anything that comes out of China 100%. So just there are different projects are obviously that are out there, but none of them will survive. Like I said before, back in the day we had NXT. NXT was a wonderful project. It had a very solid, strong team. It had a very good use case within crypto space, and then Ethereum came over, and Ethereum became more popular, and people decided to use that instead. But
Is NXT still on Bittrex?
probably. I honestly don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but right now NXT is completely useless, and personally, I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't get into that coin because we already have something better, something that already solves a lot of problems that we currently have in crypto space, such as bloating, for example. And I'm going to shill the hell out of it, and it's called Ardor. So Ardor is one of my personal favorites. It has been created as a project that has replaced NXT. Basically, the team has been it's one of the oldest teams in crypto space, basically, and they know what they're doing. The project is based on what it's called, like the child chain technology, as opposed to what Ethereum does right now. Yeah, Ardor is definitely wonderful. Risk tax, I guess. I'm not saying it's gonna rise and make everybody a millionaire, but purely from a technological perspective, it's literally the only project right now that has a working mainnet. So I am a huge follower, and I do believe that they just need a little bit of time to get more exposure, to get more things going for them, and they will take off. So, but then again, if I would have told somebody that a year ago or so, if Ethereum was going to be so big, nobody would have believed me. So if you want to invest into something like this, obviously do your own research and invest at your own risk, and don't invest all of your money because you never know what can happen. Because a lot of great projects die, not because they're bad projects, but because bad things happen to them, like Neo and the exchange that got hacked, although it wasn't Neo's fault. I mean, not Neo, I'm sorry, Nano. Nano basically tanked due to a few things. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a potential, but of course it went lower in price.
So, Kosh, I think we've dragged our viewers along long enough. They are dying at this point to know what is your trading strategy and how do you do it?
Okay, when I look at the chart, I don't use any kind of indicators. Like I was telling Elliot before, if you ask me what RSI is, I'm probably going to tell you it's probably some sort of a graphic card. So I don't know anything about indicators. I don't use RSI, MACD. I'm not looking for patterns. To me, it keeps me away from the big picture, and it keeps me away from viewing the chart as it is. So I like to trade on charts just as they are, and if they're naked like this is the most beautiful thing for me. So instead of trading, when a lot of people, what I've noticed, what they do is they're waiting for a confirmation. Okay, they're sitting there and they're like, okay, I think we're in the bull market right now. Ethereum went higher, and or BTC, and I'm going to purchase somewhere over here, and then I'm going to sit there, and based on TA, based on this and this and this and that, I'm going to hope that BTC will go up to this and this level and make me money. Okay. To me, it's a very risky strategy because it requires a lot of luck. It basically takes the control out of my hands, and I'm gambling, and I don't really like it. I like to trade when everybody is selling. So I've been using Quickfingers method religiously for the last 6-7 months. And when I first started using it, I can tell you I did mess up a few times, but I've gotten better, and I did have a lot of time to practice. Because we had a beautiful bear market for the last few months, which made me a lot more money than the bull market did. So what I'm looking for when I'm looking at the chart, I'm not looking for confirmations that this coin might potentially go up. If it does, that's wonderful. I'll be the happiest person alive. But I ask myself a question: why would I want to buy a coin when it's already high, if most likely I have a chance to buy it when it's on sale, right? And the beauty of this method is I really don't care how low or how high the coin is, as long as I'm going to see panic here and there. This will allow me to make the percentages that I want. So when I first started, I didn't have a lot to play with, and I was accumulating my money in my trading stack. And my trading stack always sits in USDT, or at this point, it's sitting in USD because I've gotten to a point when USDT is just too small for me. So I'm looking for panics. The panic to me is when, for example, let's look at this particular section. We do have a base, and I'm looking for a base, and a base to me is a point. And let me change this because like my color is bright. 1 second. Sorry, guys, this is a new CoinG account, and I'm not really used to it. So to me, this would be a strong base. A base to me is a support, and the support is a place on the chart where the buyer said, okay, we're not going to allow this coin to drop any lower than a particular price. We're going to purchase, we find this price acceptable. In this case, it was, let's just say like 14,500, right? We're going to find this price acceptable, and we're going to purchase over here. We're not going to drop it lower than that. Over here, it went a little bit lower below that, but it bounced back up. So to me, a base is a place in the chart where I see this, and then I see a nice bounce back up, because what happens is the sellers sold, like they did over here, and then buyers came in, they scooped up all of these coins over here, and they brought the coin price back up, if not to the support level, right, of the previous crack, but sometimes even higher. So these are the bases that are basically indicators that a lot of times the buyers are not going to allow this coin to drop lower than, let's say, this price level or this price level. And what happens is next time the coin drops below that price level, a lot of people don't expect it to go this low, because a lot of times, and you can see over here that there was a small argument between the buyers and the sellers, where the buyers continue to push the price down, but the sellers are like, no, hold on, this is the support base where we want it to go up. But what happened was the buyers, I guess, didn't win in that particular argument, and instead the sellers decided to drop this coin all the way down to 1,300 or 13,500. This would be the safest place on this whole chart for me to buy, because when everybody else is selling and there's a panic going on and the sellers are freaking out, because a lot of them probably would have bought the coin somewhere in this section or in this section, or over here, and they felt safe enough and thought that there's no way this price is going to go below this very strong base, because it bounced off this base once and twice, and probably it's going to bounce off of it the third time. I'm going to get rid of my paintings here. Not many people expect for the coin to really continue to tumble down, and you could see that the BTC went all the way down from, let's say, 14.8 all the way down to 13.4, which was, close to $1,000, basically $800. So what I do is I sit and wait for these juicy dips, okay? And instead of buying somewhere on top of price range, there you go, I buy below the support. To me, it's one of the safest areas to purchase, because a lot of times when the panic happens, And you can see this very nice drop within a few hours because I'm on 1 hour chart. To me, it signifies that this was a very strong panic. People just want to get rid of their coins because they don't know how low it's going to go. They're panicking. They want to sell it at cheaper price. They don't care, because they're thinking, oh my God, I really don't want to lose more than what I've already lost. I'm not saying everybody does it. Obviously the market is also manipulated, but I'm just telling you a little story from my own perspective. So to me, the panic sell is a beautiful place to buy anywhere over here. And normally what happens is a lot of times the buyers, because the coin is being sold to somebody, right? It's not being sold to an empty space. It's not being sold to empty air. It's being sold to somebody's hands. So if you think about it, why would the buyers buy all the stuff over here and not allow the coin to come back up, at least to a certain extent? So we don't know, because if you look at it from this perspective, right, all you're seeing probably at this point is red, and you really don't know how low the coin is going to go. When I trade, I layer my buys and I play off these bases. Okay, so just because this thing fell below the base, let's say 6-7%, it doesn't mean that I'm going to take, let's say I have $1,000 to play with. I'm going to take the $1,000 and I'm going to throw all of it in here, because that's a risky move, right? You can buy here, but then you're probably going to have to sit there and wait, and God forbid the coin drops even lower, because we have a stronger support base. Well, not a stronger support base, but the next support base would be much lower, around 10,000, right? So instead of throwing all of my money in here, out of $1,000 that I have, I would probably put in maybe $100, right? And if this coin will drop lower, if it's going to go down and drop all the way to, let's say, 12,000, right? And I'm going to put some more money over here. And I'm going to continue to layer my buys all the way down to, as long as I have to. The thing about this is, even if I purchase over here with $100, right, I'm going to sit and wait. I'm not going to react. I've positioned myself in a trade. If the coin goes up, wonderful. I'm going to sell my profits. If the coin continues to tumble down, and let's say it reaches this point or even this point, my next buy would be somewhere over here, okay, or somewhere over here. So I'm going to layer my buys, and the buy over here would be greater than my initial $100 that I put over here. Because even if the coin drops all the way down to, let's say, 11,000 for whatever reason, because there was a huge panic, bad news came out, everybody said, you know what, we're banning Bitcoin, we're never going to allow anybody to withdraw money from crypto, that would be a great panic, right? So to me, this trade right here, even if this coin drops all the way down here, and let's say I'm going to put $200 to $50 here, right? If this thing drops below, certain level, and for example, it reaches this base, the support, instead of this one, this buy is going to compensate this buy over here, okay? Sometimes it doesn't compensate 100% of my purchase over here, but this is why I'm very careful when I trade. Instead of throwing the whole sum of money that I have, sitting in USDT, I'm going to nibble. Luc says nibble. So we're going to nibble over here, and we're going to position ourselves in the trade and see how low or how high this coin is going to go. I'm a very slow trader. I don't really go ham and, throw all of my money in there and then sit and bite my nails and hope that this thing is going to go up. I just watch it. And in this particular case, it did go up. So I did sell somewhere, I think in this section, which made me a decent amount of money. We don't know whether the coin is going to continue to rise, right? Nobody really knows this, or if it's going to continue to fall down. So a lot of times, especially when I first started to trade, and I wasn't, I haven't used any stop loss in blank space. I don't use stop losses just for a simple reason, because we have people like stop loss hunters, okay? So I don't really like to set stop losses unless it's necessary, unless I'm a complete idiot, and when I bought over here, I haven't had a chance to sell anywhere in this particular section, and it dropped below the place where I bought it. So how I usually, it depends on the market once again. Another thing I look at is the volume, but I'll talk about it a little bit later because there's a better spot where I can explain it. Usually, when I first started trading, I would sell on the first green. And trust me, I genuinely, even now, like, I don't care if the coin decides to go up and I miss the green trade. I really don't. Because to me, this trade right here made me money. Because to me, all I care about is the money in my pocket, okay? Even if I made 11% on this particular trade, and the coin decides to go all the way up to 16,000 right away, and I would have made 21%, I'm not going to sit there and cry over it, because the fact that I made 11% and I'm not at loss already makes me happy. And I know that there's always going to be a next opportunity when we're going to have a panic. And this is the beauty of crypto. It's extremely volatile, and you can make a lot of money of these panics. So now, instead of making this my new base, right, this is my new base that I will be trading off, because, like I said, I'm looking for these letter V's, I guess, in here, when there's a huge panic within a short amount of time, and it goes below the previous base, and then it rises, and there's enough buyers to come in and scoop up all of these coins and then bring the coin even higher. So this would be my next base to trade off, and you can pretty much draw them on any chart. If you're just starting off to trade like this, I would recommend that you pick coins that have a lot of volume coming in. And this way you're kind of certain that even if there is a huge panic going on, there's a greater chance of the coin bouncing back up. And same thing here. This BTC broke this previous support. This would have been a safe area to buy, and you could have sold anywhere over here, over here, over here. A lot of times, what the coin does, and you can see it. Can I move this thing? You can see it over here. What it does is the first green candle touches the previous support. Okay, so let's just say this was our support from before. The green candle will try and touch the previous support, which becomes resistance, basically. But I don't really care about the resistance. I don't even pay attention to it. So you could have purchased anywhere over here, and you could have sold on the first green. And like I said, what I do is, for example, I bought in $100, right, worth of Bitcoin, and I've made 10%, right? So I have $110 now. And if I want to keep accumulating this coin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the initial $100 out of the coin. I'm going to put it back into USDT because that's my trading money. It's my own money, right? And I'm going to keep the free BTC that's worth $10, right, in the coin. And essentially, these are my free coins, and this is what Luc says, which is very important, is that if, you can leave your free coins behind because they're essentially free. You don't need them. You don't really care if the coin goes lower or higher. Of course, we want it to go higher, but, that's not your money. It's the money you made from this trade. And if you really care about Bitcoin, and if you really wanted to, you believe in it and you think one day it's going to be $1 million, then absolutely keep all of your money in there. When I first started trading, instead of leaving the money behind in the coins, I would take everything out, the $110, and I would put it back into my trading stash. And I think the term is called compound interest. So I would compound the amount of money that I have, and next time, instead of investing $100, I would invest 110 and make, obviously more profit off of it. So it depends on what you want to achieve. It depends on what you want to do. When I started watching Luc's videos, one of the first videos that he posted on YouTube, and I can link the YouTube channel if you guys want. There's a lot of useful information there. I think he mentioned that he started with $300, and in a year he made over 50 grand. So it is possible if you play it correctly, like Bash says. If you don't rush into things, if you're looking for safe areas to purchase, okay? And trust me, like I said before, it takes balls to get in when everything is tumbling down. If everybody around you is screaming, oh my God, the world is ending, I'm selling everything that I have, because Bitcoin will never be, 1,400 again. It's all going to go all the way down to 2K. So it takes a lot of balls to say, oh, look, this thing broke this base. Wonderful. How about I'm going to start nibbling here, And trust me, I would be so happy if this thing would have gone lower. If this thing would have dropped, 20, 30% within a few hours, I would be the happiest person alive. So, obviously the lower it goes, the juicier the dip is, the more money I'm going to put in. So this has been traded, blah, 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 blah. This wasn't really interesting to me. This was a decent break, but I don't think I put a lot of money in it. Just because, I'm not sitting there. If I want to trade Bitcoin, I'm going to participate in these small dips, but I will participate in them with a very small amount. The larger dips are the ones that I put a lot of money in, and this is where, I make big profits. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to participate in any of these small dips, because if you look over here, same thing. We have support, then base break, right? And then you could sell anywhere here or here. Same thing, support, base break. You could sell anywhere over here, anywhere above your initial buy-in price. Same thing over here, support and buy anywhere. So yeah, absolutely. I like to trade off 1 hour charts, and Luc does recommend trading off 1 hour charts, just because it's, if you do zoom out, you can really see the picture. Because if you're stuck in here, especially if you're in a 15-minute candle, you're going to miss out on the big picture. You think, wow, this base break looks wonderful. Look, it's dropping so much. And then you zoom out, you're like, oh, wait, hold on. We still have this base. We have this base. We got this base. So position yourself, but also keep in mind the bigger picture. So you don't want to be stuck in situations like these where you would purchase somewhere over here, right? Because the base broke, and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy over here. And you're not taking this strong base into consideration, and then you're stuck. I mean, I know how to get out of this mess at this point, but a lot of the times you would probably have to sit there and wait, for 2-3 weeks to get out of this, So
what is your strategy for getting out of a situation like that? Just curious.
A lot of times, because I do mess up on trades, I can purchase somewhere like over here, but usually I give myself enough time to wait. My strategy, like I said before, is if I purchase $100 over here, to me, this, this dip, for example, or this dip, it does look juicy, but I'm also, looking at the bigger picture. I'm considering these bases, right? Because you never know. What if the coin is going to drop all the way here? If it doesn't, it goes up, But there's always a chance that there's going to be a huge panic. And I'm not putting a lot of money here. I'm putting a lot of money here. Because to me, this is, look at this drop. It was like 27, 28%, right? This is a significant drop for me to start considering putting more money in. If it's, you know, anywhere 5, 10% on average, it's not that it's not interesting. It's just I know I'm probably not going to make a lot of money off of it. Because even if it drops 10% below the base, I mean, yeah, I can nibble. But if it drops, like, say, 5% below the base, right? What am I going to buy? I'm going to buy 5% below. And then, like I said, a lot of times the coin touches the previous support, right? So what am I going to sit there and only make 5%? No, I don't want that. I want, you know, 20% drop so I can make 20%. I don't really care if the coin is going to go higher than the previous support. Most of the time, you know, I'm just counting on it touching the previous support, basically. If it does, it does. That's wonderful. If it doesn't, then, you know, sucks. Unlucky.
It seems like you have to be a pretty patient person to trade like this, and pretty emotionless as well.
I don't really trade with my emotions, and this is why I like to keep to myself. I mean, I do have a small Discord, and we just sit there and troll each other and play video games and do all kinds of stuff. I do have people that come over and ask me for, you know, they say, "Kosh, can you look at this coin?" And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't trade this right now. I would wait because there's not enough panic. But I like to stay, you know, keep to myself because it's just, it gets too crazy. It keeps me away from the charts. I don't like to feed into panic or hype or FOMO because a lot of times the community creates just too much noise for me. So this is why when I trade, and it just, you know, helps me to keep my emotions at bay, I guess. Because trust me, it does get tough. You know, when all you see is red, 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 red for days, and everybody around you is screaming, "Oh my God, when is this going to end? This is the end of crypto." You don't want to be feeding into that. You know, it keeps me away from my purpose, and my purpose is to trade and make money. Another thing I was looking at is, I know this was a beautiful trade for me, and I want to talk a little bit about it because I want to talk a bit about volume. And
sorry for interrupting, but the CoinEnergy, it's almost half of the screen is only the chart. Can you just press the arrow right pointing just right of the prices so we can see the chart only?
I can do this if you want. Is this better?
Don't see it yet. So,
Much better.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
much better, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the volume because when I look at the volume, like Luke said, every candle is an argument between buyers and the sellers. So a lot of times the buyers will stand back and watch the sellers panic, let them sell, let them go ham, go nuts, go crazy, and then they come in, you know, because like I said, the sellers are selling to somebody, right? They're not selling to empty space. So when I make larger investments, right, because this panic was pretty crazy panic. It lasted for, I think, about a week or 8 days, you know, and it was one of the most beautiful trades I've done. And to this day, I thank Luc for showing me the way, basically. So this was the base, right? And this was the base I was trading off. I did make a few purchases here, you know, I sold over here. Then I waited, I bought under this base, and I sold over here. This would have been another base as well. And I remember this thing continued to tumble down lower and lower and lower. And these purchases weren't as large because I wasn't sure how low we were going to go. But what I've done, I was looking at the volume, and I've seen this huge amount of coins being sold right here. Okay, I'm not looking at the color of this volume candle. I'm looking at the size, right? It's pretty high up there. So how do you move this thing? Oh, here. And then I looked at the 1 hour candle on the actual like chart, this one right here, right, which basically aligns with this volume stick or whatever it's called. Sorry guys, I don't know how to call it. And then to me, this candle was pretty much short, you know. To me, this candle was not long enough, because for the volume that was going on here and all the sellers selling the coins off, this candle should have been this long. And then I went and looked at the order book, and what I've seen in the order book was the sellers continued to sell, right? They were continuing to freak out and they were dumping all of their coins. But what I've seen the buyers do, the buyers basically started propping the buy wall, right? So we have the buy and the sell wall. So over here, we had massive amount of orders. We had like 200 BTC, 100 BTC, 50 BTC. And all of these sellers were selling into those buy orders, right? So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, why the hell would buyers put all of this money out there for the sellers to continue to sell into those buy orders if they didn't want to bring this thing all the way back up? So I think the sellers at some point realized that they're like, hold on a second, we're going to stop freaking out, because what the hell? The buyers are scooping up all of our coins that we're panic selling right now. We're going to stop selling. And then the buyers basically brought the coin all the way back up over here. So this particular area, because, you know, I do look at the volume, I look at this, you know, and I look at the size of the candles. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong way, but so far it's been working for me. So, you know, I'm going to continue to rely on it, because the size of this candle right here, sorry, I can't draw, 1 second. The size of this candle right here, which was just a little bit shorter, right, than this candle over here, and the drop that we had over here, this drop was much longer than this drop over here, okay? So here, the buyers basically let the sellers do their thing. But over here, the buyers said, okay, you guys need to stop panicking, because we're going to take this sucker and bring it all the way back up. So I bought in somewhere in this section, because to me, you know, I had, this thing was below this base, right? And it was very well below this base as well. But trust me, I had enough money to purchase under this base as well. This was my like last resort type of a base. I would have purchased more over here. And I bought a bunch of coins at whatever it was, and then I rode it all the way up, and that was a really, really good trade. So, and you could see these in different sections over here as well. You could have traded this, you know, we had a base. You could have traded all of this. You could have traded all of this, and these are literally safe areas to buy. These are very, very safe areas to purchase. And like I said, majority of my coins, I mean, my initial investment, or like 80% of my investment, because I'm a safe trader. Some people, when they trade this way, they don't, you know, they sit and wait, and it's fine as well, because they just want to invest and buy the coin cheap and then, you know, sell it like a year later or whatever. But because I'm accumulating the coins in my trading stack, not the coins, but the amount of money in my trading stack, I'm usually sell the initial investment somewhere, you know, in the green area. And a lot of times it's within the area where the previous base was, right? And then the rest of my profits, I'm just letting them ride, you know, I'm letting them ride and I'm letting them ride. You know, I sell here, I sell over here, I sell over here. And then I'm waiting for a next dip.
So-
Makes sense?
I have a question. I've been looking into this guy Luc, right? 1 month ago, I think it was. He has a bot that someone made too, right? I'm not sure. Do you look into that too?
I know that Yeah, I was going to actually recommend this to the new traders if they decide to give this a shot. There's a, I don't know if it's a bot. I know there's a Telegram group that basically there's a bot that notifies you if a certain coin goes below a certain percentage. You know, under a base, it goes under a certain percentage, like say 10% or 5%, and it notifies you, and you can come in and look at the coin and trade it if you want to.
Yeah, basically, as far as I know, it's indicator that sends signals to Telegram, and plus there's a website that he has all the charts on it and all the put-ins, like where would the bot buy and where would it sell, basically. So,
I know that this QFT at Hoodloo, whatever it's called, it was made by one of the guys, and honestly, the people in who support Luc's method, they've been very, very helpful. There's a whole Discord dedicated to his trading method, guys. If you want, you can go and check it out. Then this guy, I don't remember his name, but he's amazing, honestly. He created this, it's basically a program that automatically calculates the bases and draws them for you. This, unfortunately, is only good for Bittrex, but if you're trading USDT pairs, they pretty much follow the same pattern. You can look at any of them, and let's just say we're looking at Ethereum to trade, right? This program automatically gives you the bases, the previous supports. So if you're not sure, if you're stuck somewhere, you know, like if you think this would be, you know, a great place to trade, you can always come back to this and say, okay, I also should take this base into consideration, you know, and this base and blah, 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 and all this stuff. I don't personally use it. I honestly, like, I'm kind of proficient at this point enough to just rely on my own thing. I don't even draw bases. When I first started watching Luc's videos, he's like, oh, I don't even draw these bases anymore. I just see them myself, you know? And I now understand what he means because I do the same thing. And honestly, I'm so grateful that this guy took his time, and, you know, he made over 40 videos that pretty much explain everything. And he explains the psychology behind, you know, the panic sells and what the buyers are doing and what the sellers are doing. He traded on the stock market for, I think, 11 years, and he's been trading penny stocks for the longest time. And, you know, he's saying that, yes, crypto is extremely volatile, but it's also extremely profitable at the same time. So what he has done is truly amazing. And he's done it absolutely free of charge. And anybody who wants, you know, to check out his videos, they're sitting there on YouTube waiting for you guys to open them up and watch them. Another thing is, also a lot of people, if they don't have a lot of money to play with, you can start building your account up. It's also discussed in his videos as well. I used Ethereum to build my account up, but a lot of people go on, you know, you can go on like Cryptopia or HitBTC, for example, and you're looking for coins that do have these patterns right here. Because on every trade over here, although it takes forever, right? You can easily make a lot of money. You can put $50 here and then make 100% within a few days. Okay. These coins are extremely volatile. I've noticed that a lot of them are run by bots, but if you position yourself well in this coin, and you can pretty much use his style. A lot of times, if I bump into a coin like this, I pretty much buy anywhere in red and I sell anywhere in green. You can do the same thing. You know, you can draw the bases. You can buy anywhere below the base, and these coins can bring you very good returns within just a few hours. So I like to use CoinG because this program gives me better perspective when I look at charts. I don't really like to use TradingView. To me, it's a little bit more confusing. I don't trade through CoinG. I just use it basically to look at the charts, and I'm like, okay, I can buy anywhere here, right below the base, and you could sell pretty much anywhere. Even here, look, you could have made 148% easily, so, or 400 something. One of the craziest trades I've had the last few weeks. This is not my real account. I used it as a simple account. Anyway, within a few hours, the coin went up like 360%, and I basically sold it as soon as I seen that thing hit. I think I got into like a pump and dump because I was just sitting there and doing my little trades, and I'm like, okay, look, it broke the base. I'm gonna buy over here, and then bam, it like skyrocketed, and I sold on top and somewhere close to it. So.
So I think a good question a lot of people are asking is why do you trade like this instead of like the traditional technical analysis style?
Well, like I said before, to me, technical analysis is it involves a lot of predicting, okay? Because if I'm going to sit here and say, okay, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong, because honestly, I don't know anything about technical analysis, right? But if I'm going to say and sit here and draw something, and I'm like, well, this looks like, I don't even know if I'm drawing it correctly, you know, this looks like, what is it called, ascending or descending triangle, right? Or something. Anyway, and I think because it's doing this, it should do this. To me, that's not really reacting to the chart, right? To me, it just gives me too much uncertainty, and I don't like uncertainty. Although, you know, when you trade like this, you also have a percentage of uncertainty. But at least these trades, to me at least, are safer than sitting there guessing and hoping for this coin to go up. The only thing I hope for and I pray is for the coin to drop lower, okay? So I think I'm one of those crazy people who are like, oh my God, yes, awesome, it's tanking, this is wonderful. Please drop another 30%. Please drop another 10%. So instead of sitting there, you know, hoping or expecting for the coin to do something, I just react to what the chart is telling me. And it eliminates a lot of uncertainty in my own head. And plus, another thing is technical analysis is way too complex for me. I was rather, honestly, the trading method that I use, it's super simple. You know, you look for the base and you buy underneath, and there you go, make profit. That's pretty much it. You know, with TA, there's just so many indicators to use, and there's a great video that Luc has on why he doesn't use the indicators, and you guys can Google it and probably find it on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to post it in chat. And it does make a lot of sense, because one of the reasons is that every person, every TA analyst uses different time frame, right? And just because it does one thing on 1 hour chart, maybe somebody else is doing something else in a 4 hour chart, or maybe somebody else is doing something on a 1 day chart, you know? Sorry, I have a mechanical keyboard.
Anyone on Discord in the voice channel with us have any questions for Koshka?
I was actually just going to ask where to find those videos, and I think that's what you're looking at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying TA doesn't work. Some people trade off TA and they make great amount of money. And honestly, I'm very, very happy for them. But I know for myself that it doesn't work for me. And TA in my trading style, or Luc's trading style, is not necessary at all, because it's not predicting. You automatically condition yourself because you want the coin to do something. You said, okay, I found this pattern, and based on this and this and this and this indicator, this coin should do that. So you're already taking your, you know, you're already taking yourself from what's really going on, and you're already going into the prediction mode. So to me, it's just it makes things harder for me.
I have a question. How do you decide on a sell area?
Sure, 1 second. Okay, guys, I'm gonna post this link in CryptoWorldNews. If somebody can repost it on this stream chart, that would be great. This is one of the videos, this is why I don't really use indicators and stuff. And I'm gonna also post a whole, this is his actual video channel, basically. So
Where are you posting this, in the live
I'm
text?
posting it in live text. Yeah, the one is just the video, and the second one is his whole YouTube channel.
Yeah, I reposted it. I posted it even before that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hold on a second. How do I get out of this? No, markets. Okay, so let's go back to Ethereum USDT, because that's what I trade a lot, even to this day. And in the beginning, like I said, I would stick only to USDT pairs. Honestly, at this point, to me, it doesn't matter what to trade. Just because Ethereum is not doing something, there's no panic going on. It doesn't mean that there's not a coin out there, because we have, over 1,500 coins, right? It doesn't mean that there's not a coin out there that's not being panic sold right now. So, and I'll explain to you how I keep track of it. You can obviously use the tools that are available through the Quickfingers Luc, but I'll show you in a second. So, for example, like I said before, when I sell, a lot of times I sell my initial investment, and I'm not a greedy person, trust me. If I make 10-15% on a trade and the coin runs away from me and goes all the way to whatever, oh well, then I'll wait for another drop, I'll wait for another panic. And trust me, there's always going to be a panic. So I sell anywhere, usually this is previous support, right? So what I do is I sell somewhere over here in this section. Sometimes I wait, but that's rare. So a lot of times I sell when the coin touches the previous support. A lot of times it will do it, and you could see right here, let's just say this is a support, right? It's a crappy support, but it's still support. And we had a nice panic, and then the coin went up and actually broke through the support a little bit, right? And you could sell anywhere over here. And yeah, this one I didn't trade because this section right here didn't show me that there was enough, basically, arguments between buyers and the sellers. And I kind of have already a feel to where it's going to go. So I did expect it to go lower, because this drop that we had over here, we really didn't have that much of a bounce back, So I did expect it to go lower. And honestly, I don't know at this point if it's going to continue to rise or if it's going to continue to fall. And I quite frankly don't really care. And same thing over here, you could see that because I've traded this. So I sold my initial investment over here because it did touch the previous support. And then I left some of my profits in here because I actually need Ethereum right now. Like I said before, I sold most of my Ethereum over here. And I was waiting for a nice juicy drop. 1 second. I sold most of my Ethereum in this section right here after I purchased it over here. So I was looking for a nice juicy drop to stack up on Ethereum so I can trade with it. So the money that I've invested, it's now safely tucked away in my USDT stash, and whatever profits I've made, and let me fix the screen because I'm an idiot and not to use this thing. Whatever profits I made, right, which was, let me see, let's say, let's say I made 20-25%, right? They're all sitting in USDT right now. I mean, not USDT, in Ethereum, because I'm going to trade this coin. I'm going to go ahead. use these 3 coins that I've made from this trade, and then I'm going to go and look for Ethereum pairs. And if there's going to be a panic, then I'm going to purchase the panic with the 3 coins that I've made with this particular trade. Does it make sense? And I think Luc does talk about the areas where he would sell. I know that he has a different selling strategy than I do. I think he sells, you know, like 20% and 20% and 20% and, you know, 30% and whatever, than the rest of them. So he does sell off differently. But this is how I trade, and I'm okay with it. You can adjust the strategy basically to your own needs, and do whatever works best for you. Yeah.
Is there one video in particular that's your favorite to watch that you said you would suggest either starting with or at least getting to?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna look for it. Okay, 1 second. I'll post it in Discord so you guys can repost it. This one. This is the first video that I watched ever on trading, and this is the one I honestly, even now, months later, I still keep coming back to all of the videos that he posted, and I rewatch them because sometimes, you know, it's like reading a book. You read it once and you have a certain perception of things, and then you come back to it and you're like, wow, I didn't notice these things. So I still rewatch most of his videos because there's a lot of knowledge in there. So trust me, when I first started watching them, I didn't understand half of the things he was talking about. So
I used to watch him as well, and I found the same thing actually. I was just starting out, and it was a little over my head, and I just sort of let it go. But I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, I'm usually a very repetitive person in that sense. You know, I'm like, all right, this is what I have. I like this because I did look at. I honestly did look at the TA, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, there's no way. It wasn't logical for me. I'm like, I'm gonna, you know, gamble with the money basically and hope that. And I'm not saying TA doesn't work, but I knew from my own perspective that if I was going to trade, TA was not going to work for me because I would mess it up somewhere along the road and make it worse for myself. So Luc's strategy, although it was not easy to understand at first, because not because I came from TA background, but because I was a new trader and I didn't know half of the thing. I didn't even know what support and resistance meant. So it did take me, you know, a few weeks to kind of start understanding what he meant. And right now, after I've done so many trades the way he does, it's like second nature to me. So it becomes easier once you progress through those videos, trust me. Like you're talking to a complete noob here. And if I manage to do it, I think anybody with, you know, a trading background can do it better than I do. I'm just glad that you guys gave me an opportunity to spread the word about something that worked for me. And like I said before, I really hope that it might help somebody else as well.
Koshka, do you only trade in USD?
No, I don't. I can do the same thing in any other pair. But like I said in the beginning, I only started with USD. I can trade anything. Like also yesterday I bought EOS. This was a beautiful trade. We had a nice base, right? Because look at this coin bouncing off this base for a while, right? Can't draw, sorry. So this was my base for EOS, right? It bounced off once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, kind of went below it a little bit, and then bam, we had a panic. And second, we had a panic, and we had a beautiful panic that went all the way down to what, like 17%. So I did buy here as well. I do have a trading stack that's in USDT, But I also do, like I said, I do have free coins that I've made from trading in BTC and Ethereum. So I can trade with that money and trade BTC and Ethereum pairs basically. And we're still going up, and I'm actually really, really happy with it. So you can trade whatever you want. You know, some people prefer to trade BTC pairs, and that's also fine. If you're just sitting there and you want to accumulate your BTC Satoshis, that's also a great job. You can apply this method to pretty much anything. And you can, the beauty of it is that you can adjust it to your own needs. So just because I trade a certain way doesn't mean that you have to. But like I said, the patterns that Luc describes, they're very clear. You know, anywhere over here you can buy. Another thing that I would also recommend that people do is they don't confuse the panic selling, right, with slow bleeds. Because a lot of coins, let me find a coin that's this coin right here, ADA.
I was going to say ADA.
Yeah, we did have some nice panics going on at some point, right? You could have bought here, you could have bought here, you could have bought here. This was panic, but this is not panic. This is slow bleed. And you also have to keep in mind, because a lot of coins are attached to BTC, basically BTC is the ruler of them all. You got to know what BTC is doing. Obviously, if BTC is going to go on a run, you know, a lot of coins bleed, because what people do is they're like, hey, I'm going to drop this useless coin right now and I'm going to hop on the BTC train and ride it back up. Because during this time, as you remember, BTC was, you know, being bullish basically for about a month. So to me, although this is a drop, right, but it went down, let's say 50%, but it took over a month for this coin to drop 50%. So to me, it does not look like a, and this is why I said, keep an eye on BTC if you're trading these. And the main thing that you guys should be concerned about is telling the difference between the slow sell and the real panic. Because I know that a lot of traders got stuck in this. Although you could have still traded this, you know, we did have certain panics. You could have probably traded here, but it would have taken you a while for the coin to go back up. So the real panic, like we had like yesterday, for example, versus the slow bleed, you know, that's also a major factor in how I trade. So when BTC is doing a bull run, you know, I'm gonna trade BTC, or BTC is doing a bear, you know, panic selling, I'm gonna trade that. And then I'm gonna come in and take a look at what other coins are doing. I just had extra BTC laying around, so I did purchase some coins. I purchased, I think I did buy ADA. And honestly, like half of these coins, I don't even know what they do. But if I do see a panic sell, I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna buy it rather. So, and like Luc said, I think he said it in his previous videos or the one before that, although there is a panic, I mean, there is a slow bleed, it doesn't mean that the coin doesn't have a chance of going back up when the market is going to be a bull market. But I don't want to sit there and wait for months and, you know, hope that the coin will eventually go up. So this is why the safest way for me to trade are obviously the obvious panics. You know, when there's a huge drop within a few hours, I know that there's a chance of this coin going up are greater than when this has happened. You understand? Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, so I think I'm pretty much done. I mean, I can talk about this for hours and hours because obviously every situation is different, but I've learned to look at certain things. So before I even take a trade, I look at certain factors. You know, a lot of times I go on 4-hour candles as well, and I'm looking at previous bases. You know, when was another strong base? Okay, we had a base over here that was back in, say, December, right? And if this thing is gonna break the base, which it did, you know, it slowly bled through it, and then it kind of panicked a little bit here, I can probably purchase in the section, you know, but I would have to wait. But this was a very strong sell because we also had BTC falling. So a lot of coins, like I said, they follow BTC pattern. And I don't really look at the overall picture when I trade a certain coin. I do keep BTC in mind. If it's tanking, it's obviously dragging coins down the line. But I'm okay with not. I'm not saying that I'm not okay. I'm saying that each coin, each trade for each coin, I treat individually. I'm not saying, you know, every coin is going to do this, because some coins drop lower, the other ones don't drop at all, because there's some news going on for a particular coin, you know. But I'm trading off like large panics basically. So there were a few ones that I traded yesterday, and I made really good money off of it too. So at this rate, because on my main account, what I do is I look at certain coins that I want to trade, for example. Okay, so for example, I would be, you know, interested in acquiring ADX, right? And what I'm doing is I'm finding bases. So to me, this would be a strong support base, right? And for example, I didn't know that this was going to happen. So what I do is I set a little alarm. Hello, alarm? Where are you?
Hello?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to set up an alarm. Okay, set alert. You can set a price alert at the certain price range. So what happens is, like, for example, I draw a base, and to me, 10,000, you know, 100 looks like a very strong base, and I can set up my alert. I don't know why this thing is not working. Usually, you can drag this thing anywhere. Oh, careful. Okay. Sorry, I'm like an idiot, seriously. For example, this thing, like 10,000, would be a very strong support base for me, because I've seen, you know, this previous base. So what I do is I set my little alarm. I drag this bar, you know, to this previous base, and I set my alarm. You can confirm your alarm here. So my alarm is set, and I do it for pretty much every coin on whatever exchange I want to trade on. And if this coin decides to break the support base, and then I come back to it and I'm like, okay, I got an alert that ADX coin decided to break the support, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it. So if it breaks a little bit, you know, I can nibble here, or I can nibble here, or I can nibble here. And like I said, the lower it goes, in fast, you know, in shorter amount of time, the more opportunity I have of making better money. So if it breaks 5%, I might nibble, but I'm going to continue to watch it and see if it actually decides to go lower. If it drops, you know, it dropped all the way, what, 25% down. This was a great opportunity to trade, basically. So,
Okay.
does it make sense? Like if the panic is barely there, if it barely broke the support, and we're only 5% down, it's not interesting for me. If it's 25% down, then I'm like, wow, yeah, this looks great. It broke, you know, a very strong base, and look, it also broke another very strong base. So we're really panicking. So I would definitely buy somewhere in this section. So,
Makes sense to me. But I do have one question. Let's say you wake up in the morning, do you just choose a coin out of nowhere, or do you have an idea of what you want to do, or do you just go through a bunch of them until you see one that you like?
Usually, throughout the day, and this is a pain in the butt that I hate, because sometimes I'm sleeping, okay, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I have this CoinGees thing tied to my phone. So if in the middle of the night, Ethereum decides to take a dump and say, you know what, guys, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it's a beautiful time for me to tumble down 10%. And I have my alarms or alerts set up somewhere like over here, for example, right? And then it starts to go crazy and my phone goes off the hook. And I'm like, okay, what do you want? You know? And then I can either look at the coin most of the time when I see that the coin broke, you know, the support, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a few more hours before I decide what I want to do with it. Then I set up my other alarm so I can do the same thing. You know, I set my other alarm, you know, usually I set it 7%. I don't know, I just like the number 7. Some people set it 5% below the base. I set it like 7% below the base because I trade, a lot of times I trade not only on 1 hour charts, I trade on 4 hour charts, right? So I can sit there and wait for a day or two before I decide to buy in because I want to see what's going on, you know? And then I set my next support, I mean, my next alarm somewhere at like, say, 10, 12%. And then my next one would be at like, you know, 20% or whatever. So it all depends.
Right, but just like I'm wondering is, when do you choose to pick a coin?
When did I choose to pick a
Any
coin?
Yeah, I mean, you know, do you just pick one at random?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of these coins, just because on my main account, I have pretty much alerts set up on every single coin. And if you guys don't want to do it, I understand, because trust me, it's a pain in the butt. But you can also use that. I think it's called CryptoBase Scanner. Yeah, I think it's called CryptoBase Scanner. You can sign up to the service, and what it does is it basically gives you the bases. You know, you can use this software to let you notify when there's like a base break or whatever. You know, like an average drop, a median bounce. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, it basically analyzes the chart for you. I do it the old-fashioned way. Honestly, I'm one of those people, like 100 years from now, I'm still going to be using the same system, even if there's a better system in place. So I still set up all of my alerts by hand. And, you know, I decide which coins I want to take. And sometimes if an alert goes off and, you know, there's a panic going on right now, and then it's dropping like, you know, whatever. Sometimes I don't even take a trade, you know. Trust me, there's at least one coin that goes nuts once a day. So sometimes there are some quiet days, you know, but it happens too.
So that program just scans every coin that's out there on those certain exchanges?
Mm-hmm.
And you just set it for whatever percentage drop you're looking for, and
Mm-hmm.
basically it alerts you and you go from there.
Yeah, but I'm more of like a manual type of a person, because I'm very particular about things that I look for. And I do appreciate, you know, the CryptoBase scanner and this thing right here, the QFT chart. Basically, like, it draws the basis for you on its own, so you can use it as a little cheat sheet. But like I said, to me, you know, if I'm trading a specific coin, I'm just gonna set my alert somewhere where I see there's a strong support. So like this BLZ coin or whatever, the support is somewhere around 33, 31. And that's it. And if it breaks it, then great. If I want to trade it, I'm gonna continue setting my alerts. And if it drops lower, then I'm gonna consider buying. I know it probably sounds very complicated to some people. So I do recommend that if you're just starting with this particular trading method, use the QFT at Hoodloo thing, and you can use the CryptoBase scanner as well. And there's this thing right here. This one, I believe you have to go on Telegram, and this gives you alerts on Telegram. Like you can get Binance alerts, you know, and Bittrex alerts. It's basically a Telegram bot that gives you an alert when a coin goes 10% below the base. Because 10% below the base, a lot of people say, okay, this is great, I'm going to put my first nibble, you know. And I usually wait a little bit longer, but I'm more of like a hands-on type of a person. So I like to get a feel for my coin before I decide to trade it.
Okay, where do you see cryptocurrency years and years from now?
I don't know. Honestly, I do think we still have a long way to go and grow. I was reading some news today, and we did have some positive feedback from the U.S. government. And I also know that the Dubai conference, the crypto conference that they had, you know, they're also very optimistic. And I think Dubai, along with some other countries, I mean, not Dubai, Dubai is a city. Anyway, a few countries, they want to implement blockchain technology into their, you know, the government operations, which is also fine. But I do believe that we still have a lot of room to grow, whether it's from a technological side or from the financial perspective. This bear market does not scare me, because I've seen all kinds of stuff for the last, like 5-6 years of me being in crypto. Trust me, this is nothing compared to when China banned crypto and when Mt. Gox happened like a few weeks later. That was
I
insane.
know.
Or was it the other way around? I don't remember. That was insane panic. It went from, I think it went from like $1,200 all the way down to a few hundred within literally a few days. So crypto is volatile. Do I know where it's going to go? I have no clue. You know, I hope it's going to rise, continue to rise like it did before. It was a beautiful thing to see, honestly. But the only thing I'm honestly concerned about are my little panics, because trust me, even if Bitcoin is going to be $100,000, or the Bitcoin is going to be, you know, $1,500, if there's a panic, if you know, I see this crack in the base, I can make money. It doesn't matter what price that thing is at. So, and that's it.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Any other
So-
questions from the Twitch chat or anyone else in Discord? I think we might have kept you on here a little bit longer than you wanted, but this has been an awesome,
okay.
awesome hour and a half.
It's okay. I just want to do a little shout out to the guys in the Quickfingers Luc's channel. I know they're watching, and I'm sorry if I butchered the explanation. They're all probably yelling at me, saying, "Oh my God, she doesn't know what she's talking about." But but yeah, there's a great community. If you're interested in this kind of method, definitely watch his videos, and you can also message me, and I can give you a link to the Discord group, because there are a lot of knowledgeable people who are investing their own time into making this more accessible, into making it simple, so a lot of people, you know, can trade better. So, thank you,
Awesome.
guys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I want to thank
absolutely.
you. I want to thank you so much for coming on. The other thing I think the viewers should know is that everybody has their own type of trading style. You need to figure out which style is best for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if TA works wonders for you, and if you're a TA pro and you're making money left and right, I will you know, applaud you because this is amazing, because I'm an idiot when it comes to TA. So I just found something that works for me, and I'm glad I had this opportunity to speak about this method. So,
Thanks for your time, Koshka.
no problem.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
guys.
Yeah, thank you, Koshka.